Every year at the Beverly Hills Hotel, the 1939 Society, an organization dedicated to serving Holocaust survivors, holds an annual gala. Students have a chance to meet, interact, and learn from these survivors' journeys. These are their stories.
Okay, my name is Angelina Biller. I was born in Germany in 1927. I was one of three children. I had an older brother and an older sister. My parents couldn't speak and couldn't hear. But the three of us, we were okay. As a child, I only spoke sign language. Hitler came to power. I was only 6 years old. The problem started. For 2 years I went to a public school, but then I had to leave because I was the only Jew. We couldn't use public transportation, so I had to walk 45 minutes both ways. And then we had ID cards with a big J outside. And you had to have it with you. If somebody stopped you, you had to show it. At midnight, Gestapo came, told us to pack a few things. He said, take a winter coat. I guess they knew where we were going. And took us by subway. They carried our suitcase. They took us to a big synagogue, the Betzerstraße. I don't think it still exists. They accumulated 1,000 people that night in the synagogue. All kinds, you know, men, women, children, babies. We were put on a train. At the train station was already one train with 250 Jewish people, the last Jews from Frankfurt am Main. And we were going, we didn't know where we were going. I didn't know anyway. But the elderly people, they realized by the names of the station that we passed that we're not going to Poland. So that everybody said, oh, that's a good sign, because we knew whoever was sent to Poland never came back.
I'm Miriam, and this is my brother David, and we're originally from Switzerland. Moved to the States when I was around 4 or 5 and he was 2 or 3. My father is considered a whistleblower, and we received refugee status and sought asylum in the States. He was working for UBS, United Bank of Switzerland, which is one of the largest banks in Switzerland and in the world. And he was working as a security guard there and found out that they were laundering Holocaust money. There were Holocaust-era documents that the banks were shredding, which was illegal. They were records of what the Nazis essentially took from Jews. Their businesses, their bank accounts were drained. And it was these really old papers that my dad found with all these Jewish names and numbers next to them, and he knew it didn't seem normal.
You know, back then nothing was digitalized, so it was all on paper. So if you own $40,000 in the bank and Nazis seized that, now it's in Swiss hands, the Swiss national banks were trying to shred that paper, saying that you never had that money.
The Swiss banks were asking survivors or even their descendants to bring death certificates of those survivors to get their money back, to get their assets back. And the joke is, of course, they didn't give death certificates in concentration camps, so it's kind of this slap in the face for everyone. The banks are their culture. It is their nationalism, where they get their sense of pride. So because my father went against a bank, technically he went against Switzerland. And when I was there most recently, we couldn't even walk into like a local bar or a pub without people making comments or hissing at my dad. It went all over the press and we were forced to leave. Switzerland wasn't exactly a good climate for us at the time.
It was really hard on both my parents, so they were both pretty afraid, and so we ended up getting an offer to get political asylum in the United States. And so, as scared as my parents were, they took it.
So they had us come over to help settle the case because they knew that the Swiss banks have been laundering Holocaust-era documents and money, essentially, for a long time. They just couldn't prove it. And So we settled the case for about $1.2 billion, and all that money went back to Jewish Holocaust survivors or their family members that are living today. The 1939 Society went to Chapman and told them, you know, you should look into Christoph Miley as a student here, and so they helped him in that way. They gave us a house that we could live in for 2 years, helped us out, furnished it top to bottom. I think that we forget that history is a very current thing, that it's always happening around us and we can be a part of it, and we need to keep memories like this alive.
My name is Kurt Lowens. Yes, I'm considered a survivor. No, I have never been to a death camp. My real awareness beyond being Jewish suddenly, meaning being an outsider, was the night of broken glass, the Kristallnacht, where we were sent home by the director of the school, surrounded by Hitler Youth throwing stones. In that year I was in preparation for Bar Mitzvah, and when I did get home, my mother took me to the window and said no Bar Mitzvah because there is the smoke of our synagogue 2 blocks away. Stores on Jewish ownership were smashed, looted, plundered. Synagogues were set fire. Things became extremely dangerous to be recognized as a Jew. But somewhere along the line, I was very lucky because I had a stamp from a minor job that said, postponed from deportation until further notice. Luckily, there was a contact with the student organization, and fairly soon I went into hiding. My own good fortune was going into hiding with wonderful, wonderful people who were looking after Jewish children. And after about 10 or 12 days, I approached one of them and said, I love to learn everything that I can help on the farm, but I need to do something. May I ask you to trust me? And with their trust, I became the 3rd member of the core group, where we eventually looked after about 120 Jewish children. I was liberated by the British. Unforgettable date, the 17th of October 1944. Now, my liberation by the British led to being asked as liberated member of the Dutch resistance if I'd like to put on a British uniform and go back into Germany as an interpreter for the British military government. And I did that. Eventually, after staying with the occupation for a year, went back to Holland. The papers for America, oddly enough, even without computers, were still in order. I came to America in 1947. I had chosen my profession as an actor, and suddenly found myself auditioning and accepted for a Broadway show in 1951 with Jose Ferrer, playing in a show called Stalag 17, and guess what? A Nazi guard. And I played Nazis off and on, good guys, some, and some very bad ones, including Dr. Mengele, for the last 60 years. I was lucky because many things that were very negative had to be adjusted to and hopefully make the best in the next one. Good luck.